Guys, we are live. We are live from Bakersfield, Jacksonville, and Omaha. At least Coach Hack is across the river and he's close to Iowa. we could make him, if we want to do it from Iowa, we could make him drive across the river.
Right. I could do one from the casino.
Yeah, there you go. I've never been to that casino, but driven by it a few times.
The sports, now that they got sports betting, you can go to like the sports bar and stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, I think California turned down our sports betting yesterday in our election.
You can't bet in Cali?
No.
Wow.
We cannot. It's illegal here. But there was a big proposition, and I think it got turned down. I stayed up late last night, but I think that one was a no vote.
Wow, because I understand Florida because they're a lot like Nebraska as far as the conservative value type things, and sports is, not one of those. But that shocks me that you can't in Cali, but you can.
Yeah. But here's what it was: is their advertising thing. Our teenagers are going to have access on their phones now to gaming and gambling, and we can't have that. And I go, well, they have to be old enough anyway. So if they're not 21, they can't gamble anyway.
Right.
They can have access all they want, but they ain't going to gamble.
Yeah, that's real.
Well, fellas, not being able to gamble stinks. But you know what doesn't stink?
Oh,
there we go.
Scentsy. And there's some amazing deals going on right now with Scentsy. The cool thing about these waxes is that you can mix and match at the same time, so you can melt multiple scents. So if you're not really sure if you want Havana Cabana or black raspberry vanilla, melt them both. Put one in. You put one of each in the melter. It melts down. Makes your home smell delicious, right? My Hawkeye room right now smells of warm apple pie, and what's more American than warm apple pie, right? So anyway, check out the link at Terry's Scentsy page. We got it on the screen. We'll have it in the comments. Copy and paste it right there in your browser. Make sure to take advantage of all the holiday specials and clearance offers that are going on right now. Save some money. Make your house smell as good as you possibly can, because you don't want it to stink like not being able to gamble in California or Florida.
Right. I got one quick question. Put both of those in ones?
Absolutely.
One of each thing or whatever?
Correct.
Oh.
Won't it overflow?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, I've got a bigger melter, right? So,
Right.
You can put 2 or 3 bricks, so like with these, you can see you just break off they just breaks off into little pieces, and you can melt that, and you can melt different scents. I've melted like orange and vanilla together, and you get kind of like that
orange cream.
That orange cream.
Oh, yeah, that would smell good.
I actually have one of those, actual orange cream.
Okay. So totally worth it.
Yeah,
check it out.
Plug-in ones like all over the house, but they're only they got where you just drop one in.
Yeah,
that's what the wife uses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right now we've got every room in our house except for the master bathroom has coconut pie, fudge pie, or something, or brownie pie going in every room. I tell you, that smell is getting to me now.
Oh.
That'd make me eat the house.
Right.
Okay. Right. I suppose we should get on to Wisconsin, all right, guys?
Heck yeah.
All right.
Hey,
go ahead, Paul.
I also just wanted to say before we get into football stuff, we got Veterans Day coming up this weekend. I happen to be one, but to all my fellow vets out there that may be watching, or if just a reminder, if you have veterans in your family, to give them a little shout out this weekend.
Is Veterans Day actually being celebrated on the real Veterans Day?
They haven't changed
that to a Monday?
It's always on the 11th.
11th? Okay. All right. So does Iowa have
Armistice Day?
Hmm?
It used to be Armistice Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it got changed to Veterans Day. So just brief little history lesson. So anyway, go Navy, beat Army.
No, go Army, beat it. That's a bunch of BS. You snuck that one in.
Yeah. Go Navy. All right. Iowa. Do they have with their Wisconsin game anything special going on for Veterans Day at their game this weekend? Do you know?
They'll probably have the red,
Fly
white,
over?
and blue Tiger Hawks on the helmet, I would imagine.
All right. I wonder
They
if they'll
kind
have
of
the
do that
flyover.
like every Vets Day.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All righty. So we want to talk about Wisconsin right now. Iowa and Wisconsin are tied with Minnesota and Purdue in the standings. We should see a little bit of breakup this weekend with Purdue and Minnesota playing and Iowa and Wisconsin playing.
Purdue and Illinois.
Purdue and Illinois, right. Okay. So what do you guys think? Let's start with Paul, and let's talk about your takes on the game.
Well, is this a step up in competition, right? Because this has kind of been the what I've heard, again from here in Florida, but I try to keep my ear to the ground on what's going on and the pulse of Hawkeye Nation, and what we heard, after the Ohio State game, Iowa might not beat Northwestern. Iowa might beat Northwestern, but it'll be the last win of the year. Then they beat Northwestern. Well, it's just Northwestern. They suck, so the win doesn't matter. We'll see what happens. They're going to lose at Purdue. Charlie Jones is going to, set the all-time record for catches and touchdowns.
But he had a good game anyway.
Yeah. Again, before those games, Coach Fitzpatrick has our number. Jeff Brom has our number. We can't beat these teams. Our offense is awful. And, now here we are, two, not just wins, but like by Iowa standards, these are blowout wins. If this is the equivalent of a 55-0 Ohio State win over these teams by our style of play,
yep.
Right? So these were dominant victories. But now the fan base is, well, now we have Wisconsin, and we can't beat Wisconsin.
Now Purdue sucks.
Right? Yeah. And now
Purdue sucks now. Yeah.
So, anything to keep the negative Nancy narratives alive, but not in my Hawkeye room. Okay, this is, the Wisconsin is back in Kinnick Stadium. Iowa's back in Kinnick Stadium. We found something with the running game, some stuff that we were going to talk about, I think, but I think we're going to hold off on talking about a little bit of it's not personnel, right? It's coaching. It's absolutely coaching. We've made some adjustments to how we're doing some things. I absolutely love. Now, Wisconsin ought to be intimately familiar with those things, but that's okay. Look, these have been mirror image programs for quite a while. We talked about it on our last pod. I think both of these teams are very similar. They're defense first teams. They're run first offenses. I do think that the Wisconsin passing game is a little stronger than the Iowa passing game, but that doesn't matter when the Iowa defense is slightly better than the Wisconsin defense, and then you get the Kinnick factor. So I do believe Iowa is going to win 3 in a row, and and the negative Nancy's are going to be pissy for another week.
Wisconsin's going to suck after this week.
That's right. Wisconsin's going to suck after this week.
Purdue was the 40th, best defense in the country. Wisconsin's 27. So, we jump up in competition a little bit, right? But the last 2 games, like against Purdue, they literally took that. Purdue averaged giving up 2.8 yards per carry. Iowa had 5 point something yards per carry. I was running back running back number 1, averaged what 7.5
Well,
yards per what?
he averaged 12 yards per carry.
It was 22 for 200. That's not 12.
Okay, well I thought I read that it was 12.
He
Maybe
was
I missed.
12 at one point, but then he had that 9-yard loss. Remember?
Oh, right, okay.
So maybe it could be 8 or 9 yards per carry, but yeah, and the everything will be the same though. Wisconsin is going to be familiar with us changing our formations by moving, pre-snap with the tight ends and the fullback to move eyes. They're gonna, but it's still going to do the same thing because they're still going to have to know, okay, this could happen, which is what hurts, which is what messes with the eyes. Like that video I shared of the 75-yard touchdown run. Did you see when Regini came in motion, the linebackers went with Regini, which set up all Caleb had to do was miss the linebacker. He just had to make one guy miss, and it was off to the races. Well, that's what that does. It literally took away the second level of defense. So it's still going to do the same stuff to Wisconsin, even though they're going to be really used to seeing it, because they're still going to have the same mindset that this could happen, right? So they have to stay at home and just see with their eyes. They can't guess. So, I think it's a step up in competition, but it's not a lot. Purdue's defense literally was not as bad as what Iowa made them look, right?
Right.
I mean, they're 40th in the country. Their average yards per play and in the running game, especially, they were the 25th best run defense. They are now after Iowa took them to school. So they're still in the top 25 run defense. And Iowa still averaged over 5 yards a carry, even with the sacks and all that. Because, they did get some sacks, and that obviously goes against the running game. So as a team, they averaged over 5 yards a carry. And that's not what Purdue does. So I think Wisconsin is going to be – I just think – because Wisconsin – they lost 8 starters off last year's team. I don't think when you see them play against certain teams, they have struggled all year, right? Mm-hmm. So, and that includes Michigan State. And Paul Chryst was already gone for Michigan State. So, they can't use like Illinois game, they used, that's the last one that Paul Chryst was there. Well, there's still the Michigan State game. I think what Michigan State beat Wisconsin, if I remember right. Or
they did.
It was a really good game, something like that. So
I think it was a close game, but Michigan State won.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Michigan State is not a good team.
No. Okay, so will our defense be able to handle that superstar running back that they have?
That's the only question, because that's what happens every year with Iowa, right?
Right.
As we always have that strong defense, but they always bully the line of scrimmage against Iowa.
Right.
So, but with our defensive line this year, it's a different story, right? I don't think Iowa's ever had a defensive line like they have right now. I mean, it is just unbelievably good. So that's the question. The $1 million question is, will Wisconsin be able to hold on to the ball for 40 minutes because they run it, at 3 yards a pop and stuff like that, and our defense can't stop it. So that's the $1 million question. I'm going to go with yes. Iowa's going to shut it down this time.
Yeah.
D-line, you're not going to push Van Ness around. I mean, he's just a monster, man. So,
do you think our offense with Budmeyer being familiar with the defense on Wisconsin will have a halfway decent day, because they kind of know what Wisconsin will be doing now a little better with them, some inside information?
I mean, I think that's possible. I mean, you can't deny that, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
But I also think what I was doing on offense is going to have there. I don't think they're going to change a whole lot of what you saw the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. What they've already adjusted has been working, right?
Right.
So maybe some things in the passing game may do something because he's familiar with their cover 3 that they play at Wisconsin. But as far as running the football, I don't see them changing a whole lot because what they're doing now, I mean, it's messing with the defense's eyes, and it's going to do the same to Wisconsin, even though they're familiar with it.
I'm expecting the typical Iowa, Wisconsin, fist fight, low scoring game, because that's what it is. And then the team that gets the breaks usually wins the game. And despite like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, 3 years ago when they won by 2 touchdowns, that was Iowa's game until they made a couple of mistakes and Wisconsin scored 2 touchdowns within a matter of a minute.
I just want to throw some stuff
one we handed them, and then the other one they just kind of took advantage of it.
Are you talking about 2018?
Yeah, the game is that the game where on the punt return we touched it, and then the Wisconsin got on the ball and basically got the ball at about the 10-yard line, and we were ahead at that point.
That had to be the only time we've ever been ahead of Wisconsin was 2020, and then the Nate Stanley years. So that would have had to have been 2018 or 2019.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it was 2019.
2019, they lost 24-22 because Stanley missed the 2-point conversion quarterback draw, remember?
Oh, yeah. Okay. It might have been 2018 then.
I mean, I'm not sure what you're saying because I don't remember that. But...
Okay. It was a game where Iowa was kind of controlling. I mean, it was a very, very close game. Iowa punted the ball. The ball ended up on the 10-yard line. The person who was supposed to receive it accidentally touched it because it took a weird bounce, and he tried to get out of the way, and it touched him. And as soon as it did, Wisconsin landed on the ball, scored the touchdown. I think that put them ahead of us. And then on their ensuing possession, they got it, and I think they were just trying to run the clock out, and I think Iowa did something, and they got like a 50-yard or 60-yard touchdown run for the final score. But, I mean, that all happened within about a minute.
Oh, okay.
And so.
But I have Iowa winning this game 24-10. So.
Okay.
I was just looking at a few things here on Wisconsin. First of all, some common opponents here. They went to Ohio State. They gave up 52 points, right? They played Illinois at home and gave up 34 points to Illinois. And then at Michigan State, they gave up 34 again. So this idea that Michigan State, yeah. So this is not necessarily an elite defense by any stretch. I think Iowa's going to have success. I'm just looking at some of their season averages. They're averaging 183 yards per game rushing, which isn't fantastic. It's decent. It's okay. 202.
That's pretty solid in my book. That's pretty solid in my book. 183 yards a game.
Not for
as I say, okay. Yeah, not by their standards, yeah.
Okay, all right. Iowa would take that in a heartbeat.
Well, where we're at in the year, we would, I'm sure. But look, they're 5-4, right? You know what I mean? Like, they're not Michigan. They're not Ohio State.
Yep. Well, and
the games at Kinnick. Yep. I like our defense to. It sounds to me like it's going to be cold, maybe even a little snowy, perhaps. I don't know. Could be cold and ugly, rainy, snowy.
You remember the last time we played in snow? We won easily, but I don't remember who we played.
Probably windy. Give me.
Jack, it was Wisconsin. It was Wisconsin, 2020. But you got to kind of throw that out because Wisconsin came in depleted.
So,
Yeah, they didn't have any starters playing. It's basically our starters playing against their second and third stringers.
The thing of it is like Wisconsin lost 8 of their 11 starters.
Mm-hmm.
So how much do those 8 really know about playing against Wisconsin's offense as well, right?
Right.
But at Iowa, I don't know how Wisconsin does it, but Iowa, they always play 1s versus 2s.
Mm-hmm.
So just them having 8 new starters, what Paul just went through, I mean, that shows what happens to a defense when you have 8 new starters, right? And who knows if all those guys are playing. I know they have a great safety. The only thing I know about Wisconsin's defense as far as star power is they do have a great safety. But other than that, they seem to just be, normal kids.
Mm-hmm.
Just, 3-star kids, maybe a 4-star sprinkled in. But, I mean, they're not elite by any means. And our offense isn't, but their adjustments have proved what they adjusted, which they should have adjusted a long time ago, is working.
Yeah. And, we've got Budmeyer on the staff, right? And now he obviously is very intimately familiar with how Wisconsin was doing things offensively. But I'm hoping maybe he can provide some insights too on what Wisconsin does defensively, because I mean he was part of that coaching staff. Yeah. He's in on certain meetings and things like that. So now we have kind of an idea, maybe a better idea of how we can attack, the odd front.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I doubt with their interim coach that they have changed anything too much on defense, since he was the defensive coordinator before he became the coach.
I mean, it's not going to change it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, their offense is changing a little bit because with Chris gone, what's his name? Oh, he's a former player. You can't think of the offensive coordinator's name, but I think he's a former Penn State player. Like he was a really good player. Mm-hmm. But now he's starting to run different stuff. So it's starting to not look quite like what Wisconsin looks, other than personnel. They still will run 2 tight ends out there, stuff like that, just like Iowa, just like Georgia. Heck, Georgia plays 3 tight ends, right? So they're still doing the same stuff, but
well, here's an interesting stat. Wisconsin, as we all know, has always been a run-first team, run-heavy team. I just looked at it. They're averaging more passing yards per game than they are rushing.
Well, you should.
Yeah, 216 for passing and 183 for rushing.
Well,
that's incredible, because that might be some validity to what Jason just said. Changing some things a little bit, not being a typical Wisconsin team.
Bobby Ingram. I think the offense coordinator is now Bobby Ingram. If you guys remember.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in theory, especially with the way the rules are and the way the game is played, you should have more passing yards than rushing yards. I mean, being balanced and everything isn't necessarily about yards. It's about formations, right? You want to be able to present run or pass out of any formation, and that's what true balance is. It's not 150 yards rushing, 150 yards passing.
Oh, you know what? That takes into account too the sacks, the yards for losses, and stuff like that. They're probably actually rushing for more than that. Yeah. If you put those back out, you throw those out.
Well, here's the question. Who do you trust more right now? Do you trust Graham Mertz on the road in Kinnick, hostile environment, or do you trust Spencer Petras?
I would take Spencer over Graham.
Yeah, I mean,
the way they're playing right now, I like Spencer.
Yeah. Right now, for sure, but they're basically the same quarterback through their careers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is I think it was you, Jason, that posted a stat. I think both their stats are very similar, aren't they?
I believe so. That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they've pretty much had the same career. But they're starting to look better now for whatever reason. Whether it's Paul Chris gone and Bobby Ingram doing his thing, even, Graham Mertz is looking better than what he has through his career. Iowa's adjustments that we know what they were on the coaching staff. And all of a sudden, Petrus is looking good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it might be something that just clicked in Petrus's brain. Because like Nico Regani's interview, if you guys saw it, that touchdown to Nico,
mm-hmm.
Petrus called out right away. He knew they were blitzing. This is the stuff he could have done all year.
Right.
So something's changed. And I mean, I think I know what it was, but I don't want to throw it out there. But I think he's being something clicked because he's being taught something that in his mind it makes sense, right? He's like, oh, it's like doing an algebra problem, because when
he found X.
Yeah, when you finally learn, like when something clicks, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. So I think something clicked in Petrus, and we'll find out this week because I think they're going to put pressure on him, right? They're going to blitz him. He's got to do the same type of stuff because literally he could have been doing this all year long. And listening to Regani say Petrus called that play from the start, like once they got up to pre-snap reads is what I've been talking about all year. He singled to Regani saying, hey,
hot.
Hot, yeah. Hot. And then Regani knew I'm looking right away because I'm going to get the ball right away. And that's the kind of stuff that quarterbacks, need to do. They have to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Regani kind of proved with the way he said it, like what I've been thinking the last 2 weeks, just Petrus looks like a whole new quarterback now. And it's not just because they're pass blocking better. There's more to it than that. And because he had time on a lot of plays, you guys saw a lot of my videos that he's still missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's really not missing. If they don't drop all those balls, his completion percentage is probably over 70.
At least, yeah.
At least. I mean, he still has his off throws, which every quarterback does, really, if we're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, even the best quarterback will throw one. Like, he'll look at his hands like, what the? But just can't drop passes. And that's the bottom line. If those guys don't drop those passes, he's completing even more. So, and we're talking about, holy cow, Petrus is over 70% in the last 2 games. So, yeah, I just think we're seeing improvement. We're seeing adjustments that the fans say never happen, right? And I think it's because Iowa doesn't advertise their adjustments a lot. I mean, there's reasons why throughout history under Kirk Ferentz, when they start slow, somehow, after they do whatever adjustments they do, all of a sudden they can win the last 5, whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
November is Iowa Hawkeye football, baby.
Right. I just wish you would do those adjustments in preseason.
Mm-hmm.
In the summer.
Yeah. It's usually October where we struggle.
It's silly. What you got, Paul?
Just a sec, fellas.
Yeah, I thought you were looking up something like you had a thought.
Looks like he's reading an important text message.
Oh, okay.
I'll be back in a minute.
Yep.
Okay.
Life happens.
Yeah.
So did you figure out our picks or?
What I got, I had last week's and the weeks before, the sheet that had the running total on it, I accidentally shredded. So, here's what I got. The week before, we went. You went 3-1. Paul 2-2. Me 4-0. Oh no. Sorry. I forgot to include the Vikings game that week into that. Into that total.
Well, that I'll have to go back and watch all of our videos on our picks so I get the tally going again.
Right. That's easy. You have to fast forward to the end, right?
You should have left it under the keyboard.
I have a spot where I got right here on my desk, off to the side where I put the picks, and then I stick everything, including my ear things, on top of it. But when I was getting stuff ready, I go, oh man, I'm getting too many papers, and I just took it and shrugged it, and I go, oh no, that was the one I wanted. So I don't know if you know, but once you start it in the shredder, you can't rip it back out of there.
No, I know. I don't shred much, and unless I get it piled up. Like I have shoe boxes full of stuff that I keep and all that. But anyway, so you think it's going to be like a South Dakota State type game?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really close and low scoring. I think Iowa will come out on top. I don't know if I want to say a score. I don't want to jinx it or anything, but let's just say I don't know if either team will score a lot.
Like, what's a lot to you? 10?
Anything over 20.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you're thinking you're taking the under then, is what you're thinking. Because I believe over under is what, 38?
Oh yeah, something like that. Isn't that considered low?
Yeah, that's low. I mean, every Iowa game though, the over under is low.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think
maybe something like a 17-10 game, 17-9, somewhere in there. That's what I'm thinking. But I jinx myself when I have a tendency to score, and like Paul, sometimes I get too confident about an Iowa win. Then I get there and I regret it, sitting there on my couch watching them play, and I'm thinking, oh, I was sure they had this one in the book.
Oh, goodness.
Are we doing official predictions here for the game?
Yes.
All right. I like the Wisconsin Hawkeyes 20-17.
Okay.
I'm hedging my bets here.
I can see that. The Wisconsin Hawkeyes. That's an oxymoron if I ever heard one.
I'm going with the Hawks at home by 3, 20-17.
2017. I got the Hawks 24-10. Did you guys see the depth chart?
I didn't get to catch it this week.
Who RB1 is?
Caleb?
No.
Caleb. He is now RB1.
I think he has been for a couple of games. They just never officially did it.
Well, no, you're right, but now it's official. Like he's improved. Like they've always had him at third, but they always started with him. It felt like the last 2 weeks anyway, right? They just started giving him the ball.
You know what Kirk thinks of that released depth chart, though? I mean, it could have C.J. Beathard listed at quarterback. Like he doesn't
care, guys.
I really don't think he even has anything to do with it. A lot of times it's just like whoever if somebody gets hurt or something, and then they can remove, like I just don't think he puts any
effort into it.
Yeah, like just draws names out. Something. No, he doesn't draw names out, but I mean, like it's just
right. But
I don't even think he's the one who's making the depth chart. Honestly,
I honestly agree with you, because he did have that press conference where he was asked who was going to play. Remember the offensive line? He said this. I can't remember which offensive lineman it was, but he's like, "Oh, he's going to play."
He's in there.
He's not.
Yeah, and he's like, "Well, he's not in the two deeps." He's like, "He's not."
But put him.
We'll put him there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that two deeps is most to satisfy Iowa fans and media, because I don't know of any other school that puts out two deeps right before a game. Do you?
No, they do. Everybody does.
Yeah,
everybody does.
Okay. Oh,
yeah. But then here's the weird thing that gets released on Tuesdays.
Yeah,
and then you've got practice the rest of the week and whatever else. I mean, it's like a lot could happen between Tuesday and game day.
What I like about it is TJ Hall is now on the depth chart, and so is X. The last 2 weeks, X has been on there, and now TJ Hall's on there. And I really like TJ Hall. I think he's going to be another good one with his speed.
Is X making any noise on the field? Because or is he just not playing as much as we think he is?
He's making noise on special teams.
Yeah, X is on every defensive special teams, kickoff team, punt team.
Okay.
He gets in there and plays some safety. Just he gets in there on some plays, so you know where he's at, right?
Right.
He's slowly getting. I mean, but you gotta understand, who was it? Somebody I was talking to, and I cannot remember. It's a coach, but anyway, not an Iowa coach, it's just a friend. But Iowa plays the weirdest quarters coverage in the country. Like, it looks like it's cover 2, or it'll look like it's something else, but it'll still be quarters coverage. And that's what confuses quarterbacks. So it takes so much to learn on what the defensive backs do because of team. So that's why freshmen rarely ever play a lot in the secondary.
Also, let's go ahead and give credit to Kayvon Merriweather. Let's give credit to Quinn Schulte, right? I mean, these guys are playing great football, especially Merriweather right now. He's playing really good football. I mean, it's okay that, X isn't, penned in as a day one starter. He's not supposed to be. I mean,
Right.
He wouldn't be a day one starter at Ohio State because they've got other 4 and 5 star guys. The fact that, Merriweather and Schulte have fended off, X from taking it is a credit to them, and it's showing up on the field.
Okay.
Right. And realistically, guys, how bad Iowa's offense has been. They can't play somebody who might make a mental mistake, right?
That's
Right.
true.
Because if he made a mental mistake, because he's so used to having that athletic ability, where he could just fly around, it didn't matter, right? If he does that now and misses his assignment, I mean, he could get burnt. And Iowa's offense is as bad as it was, you can't afford that. So, I mean, that's also a part of it, in my opinion.
Right.
But I love that he's playing more and more and more.
Right.
I think he has Schulte's spot.
Well, just, remember when AJ Epinesa was a true freshman and he was getting spot opportunities, pass rushing situations, things like that. So, I mean, I think that's what they're kind of trying to go with that model with X. So let's get him in certain situations, and dabble in it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, AJ didn't even play his full time until his junior year. The year,
right?
The sophomore year, he was strictly third down only.
Well, pass rushing situations.
Well, that too, that too. But which is usually third downs,
and that's because he struggled stopping the run, right?
Right.
You can't after all the time who can't do one thing. So AJ had to earn it, but he was such a good. You know what? Like, he was one of those kids you say, hey, go get the quarterback. I mean, he could do that.
Yeah.
But he struggled picking up on keys to if they run the ball right at him. The best thing for teams to do in college was to just run the ball at him until his senior year, and then he just dominated.
Yeah. But let's be clear though, we're not attributing any of those things to X. I honestly still believe that, because Phil has shown he has no problem yanking a guy, whatever. Schulte and Merriweather are playing great football at the safety positions.
Yeah.
And then, at the cash spot, you really got to like what Castro is doing.
Yeah.
He stepped in and played well. I know they really like to have DeJean playing that cash spot, but, we need to get Roberts or somebody else healthy to play corner.
Right.
But, I mean, that's what's really amazing. I don't mean to cut you off, Jason, but this is what's really amazing about how good the defense is playing is that we're doing this and we're missing Jacobs. We're missing Roberts. We're missing Harris. We've got guys playing not out of position, but maybe not even their best position because they're too good to not be on the field, like Cooper DeJean. We'd rather have him as a slot or whatever, but now we've got TJ Hall stepping up. So look, I'm just saying it's amazing how good the defense has continued to be, and we're really missing, 4 or 5 guys out of out of what could be
the starters.
the starters.
Yeah.
Right.
The thing about Castro is what I was wanting to get in on your Castro comment is he's like a linebacker.
Right.
Him playing Cash is basically having another linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's crazy how hard he hits. Like he is, and how he uses his helmet. He does not target. He is perfect. Well, so did Moss. Did you see that hit Moss put on Charlie?
Oh,
Yeah.
His helmet was to the side. He hit him with his pads. I mean, these guys, as hard as Iowa hits to never get a targeting penalty, is just amazing.
They've been taught how to tackle properly.
At Iowa,
Yeah.
technique at every level is the most important thing to them. It's unbelievable. Castro just puts a hurting on you.
Some of that I think could be because we're talking about targeting and stuff. I've heard a lot of TV announcers and stuff, especially like bowl time and things like that, where Iowa runs very physical practices. There's a lot of hitting going on. I think our camps are physical, a lot of tackling, a lot of hitting, and so when they get into these game situations, that's the thing about Iowa. You don't really see us miss a lot of tackles.
No, not very often.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do a lot of arm tackling. I watch a lot of football and I see guys kind of like shoulder tackle, like they're not even wrapping up. They're just going to hit the guy.
Yeah.
And we don't play that way. I mean, we're going to hit you, but we're also going to put 2 arms around you and bring you to the ground.
Yeah, Iowa is 11-man to the ball kind of team.
And bring the pain when you get there.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just loving Castro at the cash. That's just what my big thing, because he just hits like a linebacker. It's like you don't need to bring in Klemp or anybody else. Just have your Cash on the field because Castro is a linebacker.
Yeah,
my
guess is even all these newcomers are a step ahead of Klemp. But
now,
guys, I just before we go on with the rest,
looking ahead to next year, just as a question for Coach here, do we consider moving Jacobs to Benson's outside linebacker position, and then having Castro as kind of your full-time Cash?
I mean, that would be something I would really like to see, is because I want Benson on the field, but can Benson play middle? Because Campbell's gone.
Well, I think they're both gone. I think Benson's a senior.
Is this? Well, I mean, Campbell could come back if he wanted, but he's going pro.
Right.
He doesn't have a COVID year?
I don't know.
You might be right, but I think Benson does, but I could be wrong. But I know Campbell's going pro. I mean, I don't know it, but good God, everybody talks about him.
Mm-hmm.
He's for all kinds of awards. The NFL's going to come calling.
Oh yeah.
So, and I don't, unless he loves Iowa though. So there is that. But I think he's been there 4 years now, right?
It just depends if he's got a COVID year coming to him or not.
Well, no, I know but he may not use the COVID year because when you're that good and you're going to go pro, COVID year doesn't matter, but you want to finish your college experience, get your degree, stuff like that.
Right.
That's what Tyler did last year. So where he finished, he could have came our center. I forgot about Goodson, but
yeah.
But he could have came back too and used his COVID year, but because he loves Iowa,
right.
He hated it.
He took the money and ran.
I mean,
and he's having a great year. So
yeah, did you see his PFF numbers? They're through the charts.
Right. Yeah, unlike Tyler, I think Tyler would have been better off coming back and then maybe earning himself a real roster spot, not a practice squad.
It would have took a lot because of how the offense was so bad in the beginning.
Right.
Granted, he probably would have turned some of those runs into long runs because one guy doesn't tackle him.
Right.
Like I have a lot of plays where like Gavin, there's one play, I want to say it was against Iowa State. He got like a 12-yard run, but he like ran right into the guy, the safety. Whereas Tyler would have been basically doing what Caleb did, where he ran to the outside after he got through the second level and outran everybody. Where Gavin gets through the hole and he runs right at the guy. Like he
Right.
So there is a difference. I mean, the play designs are there, and there is a difference when you have a running back who wants to score every time he touches the ball. That first, did you guys see that one video to where the defense was guess right? Defense had him all over, and you see that cut to the outside, that vision? I mean, that's the thing that, I mean, that's the stuff that you can't teach.
No.
Like Caleb is just so good. Like he reminds me of Eric Dickerson. I feel like back to the 80s.
You remember his first game?
Oh, man,
3 carries for 0 yards. And I kept telling you guys, there's something there. I know he only got 0 yards, but there's something there.
Like,
I can tell you.
Yeah, he runs straight up like Dickerson. He doesn't look like he's running. Like literally, he's outrunning everybody, but it looks like he's not even trying. Right? He's just jogging. But obviously, he's running. But that's kind of like what Eric Dickerson was like. I mean, it's just fun. I cannot wait till Saturday.
I can't wait till next year when we have Johnson running back and Johnson wide receiver. 2 KJs on the field at the same time. That would be awesome.
It would be. But that depends on, like all the stuff that I say is what they tell me now. But if Brian leaves, all bets are off. There's a lot of players that just love Brian. No matter how the media wants to push it, the fans want to push it. There are a lot of players that love Brian that will leave if Brian's gone, right?
Well, now here's my theory on that. By the way, speaking of that, Iowa recruiting has not suffered despite Iowa early in the season woes and being the butt of jokes on every podcast and TV show around the world. Iowa is still, I think it's like 15th or 14th recruiting nationally right now for next year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. It hasn't suffered. But now let's get back to the guys, those same guys that we're talking about that we could lose if Brian leaves. My theory is Brian loves Iowa so much that if he did leave for the NFL, that he would personally call these guys that he's had a lot of personal contact with and just tell them stick with Iowa, don't give up on them. I don't think Brian would allow. I don't think he would do that to his dad. Just take off and go, and then, and all the players, that he secured for himself would take off and go too. I think he would just call these guys personally.
I mean,
that's my personal opinion.
Sounds like a smoke detector.
Yeah.
It is. We have very sensitive smoke detectors. I think we've got one in just about every room in about the kitchen. Just starts in the kitchen, and they're all attached together.
Maybe you ought to check and make sure your house isn't on fire.
It isn't. My wife would be opening the door right now.
You're talking about it like it's like
she just spoke in and goes, sorry. All right. Well, hey, guys, you want to finish the these picks? How bad is it to you guys? Is that really bad?
That's pretty loud.
It's not good. You can go fix it real quick. Well, Paul and I got it.
Okay. All right. Rutgers versus Michigan State.
Or never mind. I'm gonna go with.
It's done. It's done.
Oh, there we go. I'm gonna go with Michigan State. Paul?
I like Rutgers in this one. Of course I do.
You got to go the way.
I'm toss-up, guys.
I mean, Rutgers is a good team. Like, I like their defense, but they just got to figure something out on offense.
Right.
Yeah, and I think Michigan State, after the Michigan thing and the what they had go on after the game there with the Michigan, I just feel like they kind of, and then they were playing Illinois, and now look, that all of that emotions kind of wore off. You're playing a Rutgers team. Watch for a big flop here for Michigan State. Give me Rutgers.
You know what? Paul, you just talked me into Rutgers. I was on the fence. Purdue at Illinois.
Oh, I'm going Purdue. I mean, I'm going Purdue all the way.
My heart wants Purdue to win, but I think Illinois, coming off that loss against Michigan, now they're going to be a little bit in a bad mood. And Illinois' offense, I don't know how good they are, but we know that Purdue's defense is they're not tackling well. They're
still a top 40 defense.
And I like Illinois' defense against Purdue's offense. It's very similar to Iowa.
It depends on if the quarterback will throw to somebody besides Charlie.
Right. How windy is it going to be?
Yeah. How windy is it going to
be? Guys, I'm gonna go ahead and pick Illinois in this game, but like you said, I really want Purdue to win this. I'll be cheering for Purdue and take the loss.
Boy, that's just going to be 2 more picks ahead.
Yeah, but then here's the other thing too, right? What's the best defense? A good offense, and I think Illinois is going to be able to run the football against Purdue, which means that Purdue offense doesn't get to see the field very much. I like Chase Brown over Charlie Jones.
Yeah. You know, what's amazing is Michigan State beat Illinois at Illinois. I'm still trying to fathom that one. Okay. Anyhow, all right, let's moving on. Here's a good game, guys. Bama versus Mississippi. What do you want? Who do you like? It's at Mississippi.
The hottest women in America are in the Grove. I'm
going to go with Alabama. Even though preseason I picked Ole Miss in this game because I had Alabama losing 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to go with Alabama right now because I think I want to see how a Nick Saban team never loses 2 in a row. So I'll go with Bama.
I'm going to take Ole Miss, and here's why. Bama's already lost 2 games. Yep. Their season, by their standards, is over. They could win out. It doesn't matter, right? Like they're, give me Ole Miss here, because I think
what I was going to go with is what you said is, other than the head coach of Ole Miss just called out Nick Saban and said the media's got to stop giving him God status.
Oh. All right, so Alabama is Roll Tide.
he did, yeah.
Dumbass.
What's his name? Yeah,
you wait until after you beat them to say some shit like that. That's y'all need to quit giving him God status. We just kicked his ass, okay?
Yeah, right. But he said it the week before.
So Paul, are you sticking with Ole Miss or are you going to Bama now?
No, I'm flipping. Yeah, I've officially flipped to Bama. Roll Tide.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna go get the grade. I don't care if they did give him locker room material. I'm going with Mississippi.
Nick Saban's calling his buddies over at Aflac right now because that coach, the Ole Miss coach, he's going to get hurt on the job. Okay, so
you mean one of the Alabama players might accidentally roll into?
He needs to find out that coach at Ole Miss needs to find out if you can get money for hurt feelings because.
Okay. All right. TCU at Texas.
I'm going to go with TCU. I'm rooting for them. So, I mean, I guess today's just more heart than brain. So I'm going to go with TCU because I am really rooting for them.
This might be a little TMI, but I'm feeling horny. And so, when that happens, I'm in my 40s. I'm feeling a little froggy, little horny froggy. I'm ready to jump. TCU, baby.
Paul, wife better.
I'm a horny Christian.
Okay. When you're saying you're feeling horny, I thought you were taking Texas. I got to cross it off and give TCU.
No, they're the horny frogs, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are.
Right. I'm taking Texas, guys. God, I'm really going against the grain. This is either going to really catapult me today next week, or I'm going to.
I'm going to fuck you for that.
All right. Not that this game means much, but I thought I'd throw it in since it's a Big Ten West game. Northwestern at Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah, it's the Gophers.
I think how Northwestern can slow down Minnesota's running game, to be honest.
Oh, and a bonus pick here. Michigan's going to wipe the floor with Nebraska.
Yeah, we're not even going to go with that one.
Okay.
We're not going with a easy pick like that.
Yeah.
Although I kind of thought Northwestern at Minnesota was easy. How about our final game? Iowa State at Oklahoma State. At Oklahoma State.
I got to go with Cowboys. Shoot them.
Paul?
Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys.
You didn't see the guns up?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Writing the picks.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'm going to pick the Cowboys also as well. Although my heart wants to pick Iowa State in this game.
I would like to see Iowa State get a couple wins in a row, but because they have Iowa's issues. They got a great defense, but they're just blows.
Yeah.
They didn't get that 99-yard drive on Iowa, or if we didn't have a fullback fumble, right? That was the fullback fumble game, right?
Right.
Inch line or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, this Iowa season could be so much different if those things didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we'd be bowl eligible right now.
We're
literally a yard away from bowl eligibility.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, and it's just like, against Illinois, we both against Iowa State and Minnesota. I mean, Illinois, we missed game time field goals that could have sent the game into overtime.
Well,
who knows what happens in overtime?
Good point.
Yeah. And also too, not that we probably would have beat Michigan, but we were damn close.
Yeah, I keep that video to shut up the haters. Keep telling me all this crap. Like, the game was over. And then I have a video I did where Iowa was driving down the field. The score was 20-7 with 10 minutes to go.
Right.
I mean, give me a break. And Iowa had the ball 4th and 2 inside the 5.
Yeah. Wasn't it 2014 at one point?
No. Because Iowa went for it on 4th down.
That's right.
We
gave Michigan great field position, and they scored at 27.
Yeah, and then we scored on the final drive.
Right. But, yeah, we had some of our own mistakes in that game, too, that cost us. So, guys, this season could be very well on our way to 10 wins and still might get there.
Wouldn't that be awesome? That would mean there was a Big Ten championship involved.
We'd be the first time a West team had won the Big Ten title.
Yeah.
And we go win whatever bowl game they stick us to.
This Iowa team can beat Michigan. I'm not sold on beating Ohio State anybody, but this one.
I need more snarky Kirk in my life too. So after the season where he could be like, we've won 10 games the last 2 years in a row, in case you didn't know.
3 years, if 3 years in a row, if you take out COVID, because you like
Right.
20 days.
Right.
So that'd be 3 seasons in a row.
Guys, it's still mathematically there. We just need a little help. We just need a little help to get there.
Yeah, we need Purdue this weekend. I hope you guys are wrong.
We are. Yeah. I just think overall Illinois is a better team than Purdue, but you never know what happens. Illinois might be down.
Right.
They might be down thinking, "Oh my God," and then Brett can't get them back, and it's like, oh, you never know what can happen.
They also could be one of those teams that just started hot, got lucky in a few games, and then reality sets in. Maybe they weren't as good as we all thought, right?
Right.
Because they had some breaks go their way. I mean, we've had Iowa teams do that. Well, last year.
Oh yeah, 6-0, number 2 in the country.
Yeah. So,
and then we lost the next 2 games, and then we come a laughing stock again.
Yeah. So I mean, we never know.
Honestly, for me in Purdue, I just don't trust Jeff Brom. I go back to that Syracuse, the 4th quarter. I mean,
he's not.
He cost them that football game.
Yeah.
With you know, and now, yeah, I heard his post game press conference after the Iowa game and some of the stuff that he said. I don't think he's anyway.
Yeah, no.
Well, my opinion of him is he's a cheater. He's a liar. He's a scumbag.
Dirtbag. Yep.
You know, he's a dirtbag. He openly recruits against Iowa. You know, negative recruits.
Well, I mean, but that's not. I mean, obviously, I think there was some karma. There's some karma that came his way last weekend, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
I really believe that. So my thinking is he didn't cheat, like to get Charlie, nothing like that, because
no, he didn't. He didn't cheat. Not fair. He didn't.
But with what happened last weekend, if you believe in karma, with the wind, like just the weather, the beat down, like, I mean, maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's something to him being a little thuggish, let's say. There might be something to it.
Let's just say he had 2 weeks to prepare for Iowa, and it looked like he hadn't prepared at all.
Right. For real. So we'll see.
All right, guys, maybe we should end this. We're at an hour, and that's, pretty decent.
Sounds good to me. I look forward to, some whiteboard time coming up here. Yeah, I do think that it'll be good. So,
yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you guys about possibility of Monday or not later. I don't know if we can or not.
Yeah.
I don't know what your status will be. I'm probably going to be laid up if I get the surgery. So
yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to do Monday.
Yeah, I was just going to say here, too, before we wrap things up, my thoughts and prayers are with both of you guys as you go through your personal medical things. And, I certainly look forward to us getting back together on here to talk Hawkeyes. So, if I don't get a chance to talk to you again, which I'm sure we will via chat and stuff, but definitely keep me up to date and, best wishes, thoughts, and prayers for speedy recoveries from what you guys are going to go through.
So if you don't hear from me shortly after the surgery, probably means I didn't make it.
If that's the case, make sure you just leave the login for this with one of us. We will pick up the torch and carry on your legacy.
There you go. That's fine.
Dean.
Huh?
You don't have to go that far, even though we both will be. Hey, I don't know if you've ever done it, Paul. Have you ever been put to sleep?
I have.
I don't know about you guys, but I literally wake up with the best sleep I've ever had in my life.
Oh yeah.
Like when I had a colonoscopy. I'm old.
Do you guys remember if you're actually sleeping or dreaming? To me, it just seems like I'm blacking out, and the next thing I know, I'm getting shook awake.
I think that's what it is. You get that deep sleep because I wake up, and then when it wears off, but I'm like, dang, you actually feel great in your brain, like you slept the amount of sleep you needed, and you wake up like, oh wow.
Yeah.
So, all right, thanks, Paul. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Terry, hi Terry.
Hey Terry.
Hi Terry. Bye Terry.
Hi Terry.
Unusual, guys. We didn't get any views or comments during this show. I'm a little disappointed.
Well,
we went on a different day at a different time, so.
True that. All right, guys. Talk to you. Enjoy the weekend, guys. I don't know how we're going to watch our games, but we will.
Yeah.
Hawks.
Bye.
Go Hawks.